Today's topic for our What Do We Believe session is how a Christian lives in today's society. How do we associate with society? How do we live biblically rather than politically correct lives? How do we live our lives in such a way that we are a positive asset to society, but also at the same time live out our faith in our society? And when we look at Jesus and the way he lived, the first thing that comes to my mind is just being able to look at Jesus as he stood by the well, and the woman who came to the well had been married so many times, and she was not married to the person she was living with. And so he was meeting up with a woman in society. In his day, men and women didn't talk during the day if they were not married. And so it was a major societal issue when Jesus spoke to this woman, and they began to talk back and forth. And the way it ended up was that Jesus just accepted her for who she was and right where she was. And then when she got through telling all of these things to Jesus that she'd been doing, and he told her exactly what she'd been doing before she even mentioned it to him, she knew that he was the Messiah. And when she knew that she wanted to humble herself to him. And so she did, and then immediately gave her life to Christ. And as she did, she went back to tell all of the people in her community the wonderful thing that God had done for her. Well, here's Jesus reaching across a societal no-no in his day and making a difference in somebody's life. And so that's what we want to do as Christians today. We want to be able to reach across those things that would be accepted by society, but we would call sin. And you can just begin to name those, and they're one right after the other. And there's homosexuality, there's alcoholism, and the list goes on. Adultery, fornication. All of these things are practiced today in our society. And so how do we love people and encourage people in our society to see that Jesus is the answer for their need? And that is not easy to do. It's not easy to do. If we say that Jesus is the only way, we're considered to be bigots in our society. If we say that there are many ways, then we're incorrect biblically. And if we say, well, what difference does it make what way it is, that we're all going to the same place, that would not be biblical. And so we have to be careful in society to make sure that we stick to our biblical truths and we hold on to those truths. But we do so in a loving manner, not a judging manner. And we do so in a way that positively makes an effect on our society. And that means that we do our part in voting. That means that we do our part in participating in those things that are surrounding our communities. It means that we are to be involved in the community. There's one thing that is so misunderstood by so many people today, and it seems like the more we talk about it, the more people you find that misunderstand it. But there's nothing in our government that says that we have to separate our Christianity from our daily living in our society. Nothing. Nothing that says there's a separation of church and state. Old letter by an old president a long time before you were ever born or I was ever born. And that's all it was. It's not anything that is in concrete in the records of our nation. Now, I don't believe that the nation should tell Christians or any religious group what to do. And I don't consider Christianity a religious group. But I don't believe that they should tell them what to do or not to do. But I also don't believe that we should not be involved in what the government decides and what the government does, what the state does and the state does not do. We should all be involved in that as Christians, lovingly, patiently, kindly, with a sense of care like Jesus, with the ultimate goal as being the witness that God wants us to be in a world that has really turned away from the ways of God. Many people say, well, I believe the Bible, but, and they start moving away from it. And so, the Bible gives us direction as to what God believes and what he wants us to believe. And so when we believe that, we stand up for that. But we must do that without being rebellious. We must be submissive citizens, as the Bible teaches us to be. We must be loving citizens, as the Bible teaches us to be. And we must be involved in our society to make a positive influence. So the greatest influence in society is Jesus. And so therefore, if we just represent Jesus the way we're supposed to, with a loving heart and a kind heart and a gentle heart, then the world will see that Jesus really is the answer. And so that's what we believe. We believe we're to be involved in society. We believe that we're to make a difference in society. We believe that we are to follow the Bible in our society. And in all of that, we want to be a positive influence on our society and help our society to be able to be successful in its way of life. So that's what we believe. It's kind of in a nutshell. There's a lot of tributaries that you could run down to be able to describe things a little more clearly, maybe a little more in depth. But that's basically what we believe about our responsibility in our society. So hope you've enjoyed this. You've got to have questions, so please don't hesitate to give me a call or text me or email me. Any of those things would be fine. I'd love to talk with you about it. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. If you'd like to know more about the video that you've watched today, I want to encourage you to go online. Right below is an inscription and a link to take you right to the Baptist Faith and Message. And the Baptist Faith and Message will give you these subjects that I'm sharing with you, but it will also give you a long list of scriptures that you can look up and decide for yourself if this is really what you want to believe. And I want to encourage you to do that. I want to encourage you to take the time to do that. I think it'll be worth your while. And I thank you for listening today.